When you look around today, it seems like everyone has endless choices. With social media, dating apps, and constant interactions, the illusion of abundance makes it feel like one person is replaceable by the next. She may have dozens of men messaging her, complimenting her, offering attention, trying to win her over. And it can be tempting to believe that to be chosen, you have to compete with all of them, outdo them, impress her, or constantly fight for her attention. But that path rarely works, because competition makes you look like one of the many. You blend into the crowd rather than stand out. The Stoics, however, offer a perspective that flips this entire situation on its head. They remind us that your true power never lies in chasing or controlling someone else's decisions. Your power is in governing yourself, your discipline, your composure, your focus, and the values you embody. In other words, you don't make her choose you by convincing her. You make her choose you by becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks louder than effort. Think of it this way. Attention is cheap. Anyone can throw it at her. But presence, self-control, and inner strength are rare. When you carry yourself as if your worth is not negotiable, when you act from principles instead of impulses, you create an energy that sets you apart. She will see the difference between men who are desperate for her validation and the man who validates himself by how he lives. This is why Stoicism is so powerful in relationships. It isn't about playing games or pretending not to care. It's about genuinely not being dependent on her choice for your sense of peace. It's about being so centered in your own purpose that whether she stays or walks away, you remain unshaken. And ironically, that unshakable quality is what makes people want to stay. Now imagine this scenario. She's comparing the men who flood her with constant attention, likes, messages, shallow compliments. And then she notices you. You're not chasing. You're not trying to outshine anyone. You're living your life with clarity, ambition, and calm strength. She sees that you're not another man who needs her to feel complete. And because of that, you don't come across as one of many, you come across as one of one. But here's the truth most men don't want to hear. This takes discipline. It's not about pretending to be stoic. It's about practicing it daily, controlling your reactions, training your mind to focus on what you can control instead of what you can't, building habits that sharpen your body and mind, refusing to let external noise sway you. Over time, this discipline transforms you into someone who naturally commands respect because you've already earned your own. When you become this man, she doesn't just choose you because of charm or words. She chooses you because you represent something deeper, stability, groundedness, and purpose in a world full of distractions. And that choice doesn't come from pressure, it comes from recognition. The more you try to convince someone to like you, the more you give away your power. You begin to shape yourself according to what you think will please her, but in doing so, you lose the very essence that could have made her choose you in the first place. People are drawn to those who are authentic, not to those who bend themselves into whatever shape they believe will gain approval. The Stoics remind us, live according to nature, which means live according to your true character. If you find yourself tempted to chase or compete, pause and ask, what am I teaching her about me by doing this? Am I showing that I believe in my own value, or am I proving that I see myself as one among many, desperately trying to stand out? A man who respects himself doesn't fight for a seat at someone else's table. He builds his own. And this quiet confidence is what makes someone notice you without you having to shout for attention. Consider Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history. Despite ruling an empire, his writings reveal how he constantly reminded himself not to be controlled by praise, not to be swayed by desires, and not to chase validation. His strength came not from external applause, but from inner discipline. In the same way, when you stop seeing her attention as a prize to win, and instead focus on living with integrity, you elevate yourself beyond the competition. Now imagine her perspective. She has choices, yes, but most of those choices look the same. They revolve around men who project their worth through material displays, constant attention, or clever words. Then there's you, the one who is calm, composed, unbothered by the noise, guided by a higher purpose. That difference is not subtle, it is magnetic. It creates curiosity. She begins to wonder why you are not chasing like the others, why you seem so content without her validation, why you move with a kind of quiet strength that doesn't demand attention but naturally attracts it. That's when the shift happens. Instead of you wondering if she will choose you, she begins to wonder what it would mean to be chosen by you. And this is where true power lies. Not in trying to force someone's decision, but in living in such a way that their decision becomes obvious. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control outcomes, but we can control how we show up. And when you show up as a man who is rooted in discipline, confidence, and purpose, you create an option she can't easily overlook. But let's be honest, this isn't about tricking her or manipulating emotions. If your motive is to win, you'll eventually slip back into insecurity. This is about genuine transformation, becoming someone who is so fulfilled by his own path that whether she chooses you or not, you remain strong. That's the paradox. The moment you no longer need to be chosen, you become the kind of man most likely to be. There's a common mistake men make when they hear advice about standing out. They think it means they have to do more, be louder, flashier, more extreme in order to grab attention. But standing out through noise is just another form of competition. The Stoic way is different. You don't stand out because you try harder. You stand out because you need less. When you don't need constant validation, you project stability. When you're not desperate for approval, you move slower, calmer, more deliberate. And in a world where everyone is running, that calmness is like a signal fire. It separates you without you even trying. She begins to notice the quality of your presence. You're not rushing to fill silences. You're not scrambling for her attention. You're not performing. You're simply there, comfortable in your own skin. This is the paradox of choice that she faces. Having too many options doesn't make it easier, it makes it harder. Most of those options blur together because they're all seeking her in the same way. But the man who seeks something greater than her, his purpose, his discipline, his growth, becomes unforgettable. He doesn't just offer companionship, he offers stability in a storm. And here's where Stoicism sharpens your edge. When emotions rise, jealousy, impatience, frustration, you train yourself not to act on impulse. You remind yourself, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. While other men lose composure when she doesn't reply, when she tests them, or when she shows interest in others, you remain steady. That steadiness becomes your silent advantage. She will notice who cracks under pressure and who remains unshaken. It's important to see that women don't only choose based on looks or charm. They choose based on energy, the feeling they get around you. Do they feel peace or pressure? Do they feel stability or insecurity? Do they sense a man who is complete, or a man trying to complete himself through her? The Stoic path ensures that you radiate completeness. You're not waiting for someone else to make you whole. You already are. And when you approach life from this state of wholeness, you naturally create gravity. People orbit around those who are grounded. She may not be able to explain it, but she feels it. That calm confidence sets you apart without effort. And in a sea of noise, effortlessness is what draws her closer. At the heart of it all, the choice isn't really about her, it's about you. The more you obsess over whether she will pick you, the further you drift from the very qualities that would make her want to. The Stoics never built their lives on the shifting sands of other people's opinions. They anchored themselves to discipline, to reason, to living in alignment with their highest values. That's exactly what you must do. If she has 100 options, let her. None of them matter if you are the man who doesn't see himself as an option at all, but as an individual of principle. Don't fight for her attention. Fight for your own growth. Don't beg to be chosen. Become someone who chooses wisely. Because the truth is, you don't want to be picked simply out of convenience or impulse. You want to be chosen because she recognizes that you bring something no one else can. A life of stability, clarity, and quiet strength. So you make her choose you, not by chasing, not by competing, not by trying to outshine others, but by becoming a man who shines on his own. You let your calmness speak louder than words. Your disciplines speak louder than effort. Your presence speak louder than promises. And when she looks at the many, and then she looks at you, the difference will be impossible to ignore. But here's the final truth. Whether she chooses you or not, you win. Because through Stoicism, you've built yourself into someone who no longer needs anyone else's decision to validate his worth. And when you live that way, you've already made the most important choice. The choice to master yourself.